here. The Gemara quoted a pasuk. It says, we're going to start 2, 4, 6 lines from the top. It says, V'yisrachek mishloshet dvarim. A person should distance himself from 3 things. Min ha-miyurin. Why? That you shouldn't encourage a woman to be memayim when she's a katana. Why? Dilma godlo michratobo. Because maybe she'll get older, she'll regret. When she's with another husband, she'll regret she walked out on the first one. Min ha-b'gedonis, from giving things for safekeeping. But barmasa de baisa. It's where the person who gave it to, he lives in the same community. He vaisidami, because he sees the house of the custodian is his house. You know what it does? He goes and visits, takes it, and then he has a claim against the person. Mini ravon, guarantors. Ba'arve shaltzion. We're talking about guarantors of this community called shaltzion. What do they do? There's a pasuk. The pasuk says, this pasuk is a pasuk in Mishlei. Ra yoro, bad they will do bad. Ki orev zor ro acharo. Orev zor. The strange guarantor. Ro acharo tovo. One evil after an evil will come. Limekable gerim. For the one who accepts converts. Ula arve shaltzion. Ula tokea atzma lidvar halocha. Here. For the one who's guarantor in the community called Shaltzion, a person's tokei atzmol dvar halacha, which the Gemara is going to speak about. It's speaking about a person who studies, and he studies not to keep the mitzvahs, or he doesn't study sufficiently and he's an expert, puts himself like he's an expert. So that's it. That's tokei atzmol halacha. Mekable gerim. What's that? Greb chelbo. The one who accepts gerim, he's only perpetrating evil. Why is he perpetrating evil? Accepting converts for Klal Yisrael is like leprosy. Sapachas, but like leprosy on the skin. So Rashi explains why. Since they're not that meticulous in observance of mitzvahs, so as a result of that, they're not a good example. It brings the whole stand down. We had Tosis early, it says another few reasons. Another reason is that, you have to be very sensitive with the feelings of a ger. So if the ger is among us, it's inevitable people are going to hurt their feelings. So therefore, it's a continuous pitfall. Having gerim, that's why it's kashul sabachas. What's arve shaltzion, the guarantors of this community shaltzion? The avdi sholov dutz. They grab and they go. They're not interested. They don't go to the borrower. What do they? They want their money. So they go and they take it, but it's not. You're not permitted. What's tokei atzma lidvar halacha? What's the personal, literally tokeh means he inserts himself, dvar halacha, or it could be he extricates himself. The Tanya. Rabbi Yossi Omer Kol Omer Ein Lo Torah. Tokeh means he says, I don't study. I don't study, period. He has no Torah. So you tell me that's a bad thing? Person says, I don't study? Of course it's bad. There's a pshita. Right? Ein Lo Torah. Kol Omer Ein Lo Ela Torah. Meaning he studies, but he doesn't study to perform the mitzvahs. He's proficient in Torah. So that's Gemara says, Ein lo ela Torah hanami pshitas. Of course that's bad. Ela dafil Torah ein lo. The answer is, the chiddush is that if he studies not to fulfill the mitzvahs, he doesn't even get credit for studying Torah. That's what you'd say. You don't get credit if you don't do the mitzvah. You're punished. But at least you get credit for studying. No, if you study without the intention to perform, you don't even get credit for studying. My timer. Why? Omar Papa, Omar Kro, v'limadatem v'asisem. It says you should study it and do. So when is studying have value? If it's vasisem. But if it's not with in mind vasisem, the limadatem means nothing. Kol sheyeshno vasi yeshno b'limudo. If the person is going to actually perform the mitzvah, that's called, then there's a mitzvah of limud. Kol sheyeshno b'asiya, but if he doesn't intend to do the mitzvah, then what? Eino b'limudo. He doesn't get credit for what? For the limud. Okay. Ibo same another shot. Oh, I have to take this. Give me 2 minutes. Tivot, that's where the school is. Where we had the same Sefer Torah. Yeah, that you see, the grave is 2 minutes from the school, literally 2 minutes. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So over here we're saying what Iba Seimo. Yeah. So we said that if you don't learn it for the purpose of fulfilling the mitzvah, one doesn't even get credit even for learning. Iba Seimo Olam Kedam Risa Meikar Kol Ome Ein Lo Elo Torah Ein Lo Torah. So we said, what's pshat? If this person studies and he says, I study but I don't do it to fulfill mitzvahs, we say that Torah, it has no value. He gets no credit for doing the mitzvah. The Gemara says, of course you don't get credit. How do you get credit for doing the mitzvah? You never did the mitzvah. Listen to the story. What about a person? He himself doesn't keep mitzvahs, but he studies and he teaches others. And due to his teachings, other people keep mitzvahs. So you can say, maybe you'll say that since, even though he doesn't keep the mitzvah, but since due to his teaching, other people do mitzvahs, maybe he should get credit for the mitzvahs that other people do. Here, on that he tells me, Shlomo tells me, Mishnah, no. Even though since your study initially was not for the sake of doing mitzvahs, and you only taught, but not that they should do mitzvahs. They happen to keep mitzvahs, you're not connected to the mitzvah. So the original teacher has no relevance to those mitzvahs. He's teaching others, and the others are going doing the mitzvahs. Yeah? Maybe he should get credit for doing the mitzvahs because they're the ones who he taught. They do mitzvahs. Kamash Maloni gets no credit for that. What? You know, when I went to Yeshiva, I was a child. So the teachers in the school, some were called Rav, some were called Mar. They didn't have any. They were called Mister. So my 3rd and 4th grade teachers, they were called Mar this and Mar that. They taught us Chumash, but they weren't rabbis. You know, they were teachers. So we called them Mister this, Mister. It was in Hebrew. My 4th grade Rebbe, teacher Mar. Only later we found out when I got older, he wasn't a Shomer Shabbos. He was not a Shomer Shabbos. Could you imagine? And he was a phenomenal. He even taught us Gemara. I started my first learning Gemara in 4th grade. He was my Gemara teacher. The man was not a Shomer Shabbos. He went around the corner. He used to take his hat off, walk bareheaded in the street. You understand? So now many of the kids who grew up to be Orthodox Jews, observant Jews, does he get credit for anything that they did? So whatever he did, nothing. He's teaching. It's a job. He couldn't care less. You do the mitzvah, you don't do the mitzvah. He's a good teacher. He enjoys teaching. No credit. So that's what we're talking about. You think maybe since as a result of his teaching, people observe mitzvahs, but since his learning originally, his teaching has no relevance to that, he gets no credit whatsoever, regardless of what results as a result of that. Okay? Real life example. It's interesting, this Rebbe, this 4th grade Rebbe, when I moved to Muncie, this person lived in my neighborhood. He had a lawyer, somebody then, the lawyer was in his mid-50s. This lawyer was the son, turned out was the son of that Rebbe, of this Mar. So he told me, this person was a very observant person, his client, says the reason why I can't tolerate Judaism, because my father was such a hypocrite, was so two-faced. Here he goes, teaches, and then he doesn't keep Shabbos, kept nothing. And he used to say Friday night, he used to play cards with the super, the Puerto Rican super in the basement. Could you imagine? He says, if I see this, he says, how could I respect Judaism? How could I respect it? He says, I want nothing to do with it. That's what he told this religious person. Okay? This was my 4th grade teacher. So, he gets no credit. Ibo Seimo. What's the case of Ibos? What's Tokei Atzmo Dvar Alocha? That he's a bad person. Bedaino dosi dino kamei. We're talking about a dayan. Right? A case comes before him. V'gomar halocha. And there was a ruling given. Umedame milsa milsa. And he goes and he compares this situation with another situation. There's been a ruling. And he says, it seems to me this ruling is like that ruling. But you realize, unless you're an expert, things may seem similar, but they're not the same. Right? It's like a person... a doctor prescribed medication. And then he has somebody else's friend. He says, it sounds like you have what I have to use my medication. I mean, so the same thing. This is the kind of dayan we're talking about. He knows there's a certain ruling. He says, well, it seems to me your case is that, therefore he gives the ruling. But listen, Visle Rabbo, and he has a Rebbe who he can consult with to tell him whether it's a correct comparison or not a correct. And he doesn't go ask. You hear this? Why doesn't he ask? The answer is it's with his dignity. You know, I think it's right, it's right. It's interesting, many years ago, not too many years, many years ago, a certain person comes here, and his wife had a friend, Jewish woman. They went to Harvard Law together. Yeah, Harvard Law. And she was marrying a goy, Jewish girl, Harvard Law, in an Armenian church in Cape Cod in the summer. So the person gave him, he says, is his wife permitted to go to the wedding? Because it's a good friend of hers. She said, oh, no, sir. It's in the church. I said, it's bad enough she's marrying a goy, but you have to go in the church, sit in the church, and see whatever the ceremony is. I said, under no circumstance she's permitted to go. Okay? So a few months later, he says to me, I says, by the way, what happened with that wedding? His wife went. Why? Why did she go? She went and consulted with a certain rabbi. And he based his ruling on something that Rabbi Soloveitchik said. But you'll hear, this is similar to what we're talking about over here. There was a case where there was a Jewish girl married to a goy, and the person asked Rabbi Soloveitchik, and his daughter wants to come to the Seder with a non-Jewish husband. Should they allow it or should they not allow it? So we're not talking about going to a church. We're not talking attending a marriage ceremony between a Jew and a goy. They're married already, and the daughter wants to come to the Seder. Should they tell her we don't want to know you, or should they encourage them to come to the Seder? That's the question that was posed to Rabbi Soloveitchik. Rabbi Soloveitchik says they definitely should come. Why? Because you never know if you have a relationship and if there's a problem and they break up, eventually, at least she's connected to her family. But if you alienate him and break up, she's gone. She has nowhere to go. That was that ruling. So this rabbi made a stretch. So you see, Rabbi, you could go to the church because you never know this. Is it comparable? They're not comparable. It's like you're comparing iron with platinum. Well, they're both metals. You understand? Same idea. Understand what's going on over here? This is like the Wild West. But I'm a rabbi and I'm this, and I spent so many months under Rabbi Soloveitchik's. I heard some of his lectures. This was ruling. I think it's a good comparison. Okay, so you take Klal Yisrael, Chas v'Sholom, down the tubes. Okay, so that's this person over here. This is Raya Roa. Shlomo said this goes from bad to worse. This kind of man. We're not finished yet. The Omer Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani, Omri Beonusan, L'olam yira dayin atzmo kilu cherv menachas lo ben yarchosav. A dayan, before he gives a ruling here, he has to see himself as if he has a double-edged sword between his thighs. If it's double-edged, that means you have a blade on each side. You make one wrong move, what happens? You get cut right in half. The Gehenim psuchalo. The sword is not enough. And under the sword, you got Gehenim. Shenemar. Hine mitosu shel Shlomo shishim giborim sovlo. The bed of Shlomo had 60 giborim, 60 strong men. So Rashi was shishim giborim dayonim. Dayonim around it. Mi gibor Yisrael mefachi balelos. And they fear the night. These judges fear the night. What does that mean? These judges, before they give a ruling, they stand in trepidation because Gehenim is standing there. Okay? So evidently this dayan, he doesn't see it like that. Therefore, he could consult with his Rebbe. He makes the comparison, and he's the last word. Okay? The Mishnah says, now, the Mishnah says that if you have two brothers, one's married to a minor, and one's married to an adult, and they're sisters. And then the brother who's married to the adult passes away. So rabbinically, the brother is married to the minor. So he can't do Yibum at this point. Why? Because it's his wife's sister, even though the marriage is rabbinical. So one position of the Mishnah is that you encourage the minor to do Miyun. So then he'll be able to do Yibum. Rabbi Lil says no. Let it take its course. Whatever happens, happens. You don't tell her to do Miyun. That's what we're holding. Rabbi Lil, if she walks out, she walks out. She doesn't walk out, so you don't. My time is Rabbi Gamliel. What's the reason? Why can't Rabbi Gamliel? Why shouldn't he encourage me? Mishum Deksava Kedusha Ktana Mitli Toli. That we say that although originally it starts off as a rabbinic marriage, but as time goes on and she becomes an adult, gadli bado, the marriage grows with her. Meaning the marriage turns into a Torah marriage. The rabbinic marriage grows into a Torah marriage. Hear this? Now Gemara's a shayla. Is it only after she became an adult he cohabited with her? Because we say one means a marriage is through bia. Or no, the reason is because of one who's married to an achos yivama, she's absolved. Therefore, that's the reason. Yeah. So that we say, no, that's only if he had relations with her. When he had relations when she became an adult. So Rav Sheshis rejects this Rab's position. He says it seems to be Rav when he said this ruling he was half asleep. Sounds familiar. He was like half asleep. Otherwise he couldn't have said such a thing. Why? It says a person who marries a minor. Kedushat tluyim. The kedushin are like suspended. What does that mean? What does it mean? They're hanging. It's a hanging. It's questioned what it is. Lavki godlo gadli bado. Avagav lobo seems to be when she becomes adult. That marriage we see it like a Torah marriage. Amale Rovan Breder of Nachman Homilsa Diktana Mitli Toli V'Kaimo. He says no, it's true. The marriage itself is hanging. However, that's only if he actually has a relation with her as an adult. So if he has a relation with her, then the rabbinic marriage becomes a Torah marriage. The Omro who odif minoi, vara adif minei. Because what does she say? She says he has something over me and I have something over him. What does that mean? If he wants to divorce me, he could terminate the rabbinic marriage, right? But if I want to walk out on him, I could walk out on him, and he can't control me. That's what she says. So therefore, until he actually consummates the marriage as an adult, everything is what? It's up in the air. You don't know what it is. He could divorce her, and if she divorces her, then he's treated like a wife. The Sover Ravi Baldini Lo Lo, we're saying now, Rav holds, when we say if she becomes an adult and he has relations with her, then the rabbinic marriage becomes a Torah marriage. Because that's considered like he married as an adult. You mean to say that, we had learned a katana, a minor, who didn't walk out when she under rabbinic marriage. She stayed. Vigdila and subsequently she became an adult. And then she went and married a third party. Here what happened? Man's married to a katana, she becomes an adult. After she becomes an adult by the husband she was married originally rabbinically, she goes and accepts marriage from a third party. Okay? So is she married to the third party or not? Let's say the husband did not have relations with her after she became an adult. It should be good. Rava ma'initzricha get misheni. Here, Rav says no, she doesn't need. So that means what? Even if he wasn't boil, the marriage becomes a Torah marriage. Shmuel ma'initzricha get misheni. No, Shmuel says no. Of course she needs a get. Why? Yeah, Rav says she doesn't need a get, and that's Ibur Abiyah. Shmuel says she does, meaning since it's only a rabbinical marriage. So therefore, she's on a Torah level. She's married to the second man, right? So Mar says, "My love, seemingly, what's the machlokes of Rav and Shmuel? Whether she needs a marriage? The husband, when she became an adult, didn't have relations with her as an adult, and Rav still says she does not need a get from the second husband. My love, lo ball, lo. So Mar says, no, the ball. We're seeing about she was married, so now we have a problem with Shmuel. A man is married to a woman as a minor. She becomes an adult. He cohabits with her. Rav says now she's married on the Torah level to husband A. So when B marries her, you can't marry. She's a married woman. So it's understood why she needs no get from the second husband. He married a married woman. Shmuel says no, she does need a get. So how do we understand Rav? Shmuel, if he had relations with her when she was an adult, right? Why should she need a get? But Shmuel says she needs a get. So the Gemara says, either boel, my time it is Shmuel. So if she had relations, what's the rationale of Shmuel? The second man married a married woman. Reuven marries this girl as a minor. She becomes an adult, he cohabits with her. Reuven. So now it becomes a Torah marriage. So it becomes a Torah marriage. When Shimon goes and marries her, is it a marriage? He's marrying a married woman. But Shmuel says she needs a get. What does she need a get? There's no miyun. He's married to her on a Torah level. Not through a miyun. You don't get married through a miyun. You could dissolve the marriage through a miyun. She was never memayin. So? No, as an adult after she had a relation with her husband.
So it would look like she could walk out without it because originally...
What are you talking about? She's an adult. A woman's 90 years old. She was married when she was 3 years old. She could walk out at 90. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Never had this. Never, 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 never. Create this Talmud Bavli, Yerushalmi, and Talmud Birnbaum. There's a Schottenstein. What, can you have a Talmud Birnbaum? You have a Birnbaum sitter. You could have a Birnbaum Talmud.
Wasn't there a question whether something has a beginning or at the end? Isn't that the question that he has now? If the beginning was a minor, so that argument would play out. If we say no, once she becomes a majority, that she needs to get. So that's at the end of what we see. Isn't that the way you put it?
Let's see what the Gemara says, what the argument is.
Okay.
Okay. Normally we say, we'll say, so what? The second husband. She's married to. Exactly. So that's the Gemara's question. So that's the Gemara's question. So why does Shmuel say she requires a get from number 2? He married a married woman. She should need nothing. That's the Gemara's question. That's exactly what the Gemara is asking. Howard has an answer. The Gemara answers differently. Okay? My time is Shmuel. Ksova kolaboil adas kiddushin rishonim hu boil. You hear this? A man marries a woman as a minor. For the rabbinic marriage to become a Torah marriage, what does that have? What does it take? I mean, the husband's aware the first marriage is rabbinical, so when he cohabits her as an adult, he has in mind, I want to now, with this act, to marry her on a Torah level. So if he has that in mind, of course, it becomes a Torah marriage. But what about he's cohabiting with her? He doesn't have that in mind. He says, well, it's been my wife since she's a child. So it's not in mind to elevate the marriage. He's continuing the relationship. So the act of cohabitation is not an act of marriage. That's the argument. Rob's of the opinion, since he's aware initially the original marriage was rabbinical, so when she becomes adult, he has in mind to marry her on a Torah level. That's what he has in mind. Shmuel says no, unless he says that specifically. The presumption is, his mindset is, he's continuing living with his wife, which is rabbinic marriage. Therefore, she's only married on a rabbinical level, even though he cohabited with her when she was an adult. Therefore, she needs a get from the second person. She married somebody else, but she's still married to the first one, only rabbinically. She's only married to husband A rabbinically, according to Shmuel. If she'd be married to husband A on the Torah level, Shmuel would agree she doesn't need a get. She'll go back to the first. She'll go back to the first. She will go back to the first. Right? But how could she go back to the first? Only if she gets a get. Because she's married to the second. But according to Rav, that she had it when he cohabited as an adult, he had a mind to marry her with that act of cohabitation. So who didn't Mr. B marry? He married a married woman, so of course he doesn't need a get. So that's the argument. His mindset when he has relations that he's married her from the very beginning, which is only rabbinical. Okay? So more asks, that's the machlokes Rav and Shmuel. What do they have to restate this argument? They argue elsewhere about this principle. What's the case? Interesting case. Let's say a person marries a woman. We had this earlier. He marries her, a conditional marriage, kedushin. I'm marrying on the condition you give me so much money in 30 days. Okay? Now, 15 days later, she goes to chuppah with him, and they consummate the marriage. There's a machlok. And when he went to chuppah, he didn't restate that condition. Did not restate the condition. So if you're of the opinion, ein adam bo bilos bilas nus, that a person, when he cohabits, he wants it should be a viable, it should have a status of value. That means, Rav says he waived the original condition. Since he didn't restate the condition, although he said it when he originally did the Kedushin, the original condition is nullified, and she's fully married. That's Rav. Okay? So we say when a man cohabits, it's in mind for marriage. So if it's in mind for marriage, that means the condition is nullified. Because it's not nullified, so the act of cohabitation is not a marriage act. Shmuel says no. A person always goes back to where it started. Where did the relation start? With Kedushin. The Kedushin was conditional. So if the Kedushin is conditional, the chuppah is conditional. So if the condition is not met, even the Nesuin, the chuppah is not a chuppah. So therefore, that's the first question. What do they have to argue the case where he's married originally rabbinical? And then she graduated to an adult marriage, and that's they already argued regarding the case of the condition, where there's a condition by the Kedushin, and they married without a condition. Dietmar, Teach al Tanai. V'konso stam. He married, the Kedushin was conditional, but when he did the chuppah, no word of a condition. Rav matzrichem eno get. Rav says she needs a get. Because we say the condition is botel, is nullified, and she's fully married. Shmuel tzrichem eno get. You don't need a get. The second act the act of cohabitation, but that was contingent on what? On the condition, subject to the condition. So what do I have to argue twice? Rav matzrichem eno get. Keben nosvo. Rav says, why does she need a get? Since he married her, achule achle litnoi, he waived the condition. Therefore, the marriage is a marriage. Therefore, now, if he wants to divorce her, she needs a get. Shmuel eno tzrichem eno get. Kol aboel, because when he cohabits with her after the chuppah, al das kedusha rishonim boil. It's with in mind what the original condition was. So if the condition is not met, it's nothing. So what do they have to? We're asking, why do they have to argue two cases? They already argued. The principles argued. Says no tzricha. The cases are not comparable. Not comparable. Why? Diet mahi bahi komarav mishum dikotino. The first case by kedushin. He originally married on a condition, a tanai. Then he goes to chuppah, cohabits, doesn't mention a word about the tanai. So he says that's an indication. Achuli achle. Otherwise, why didn't he mention it? He didn't say, "I'm marrying you. I'm consummating marriage on the condition that the condition is met." He didn't say that's clearly. So he nullified the condition. But in our situation, he's married to her rabbinically. So now you'd say maybe he's continuing the relationship. But he doesn't have specifically in mind that he's cohabiting with her to bring the marriage to a Torah level. Right? This case is a different case. There, if he doesn't have in mind, if he doesn't nullify the condition, so what is the act of cohabitation? It's an act of znus. It's a promiscuous relationship. Here, it's within the context, he's still married with her. It's a rabbinic marriage, right? And if I only have the case of marriage, that's where Shmuel argues. But since over here it was only a rabbinic marriage, you'd say you agree with Rav that he wants to elevate it to a Torah level, tzricha. Right? I'd say about it tonight. I'd say Shmuel only argues with Rav where it's going from a rabbinic marriage to a Torah marriage. But where it'd be a bias nus, even Shmuel would agree that he's waiving the condition. The answer is no. Okay? So Mara asks, now, so when they're saying now, if you're married to a woman rabbinically, and then you graduate to when she becomes an adult, he has. Rav was saying, quote, Rav, when do you need a get? Only if he lives with her, if he cohabits. If not. Did Rav really say that? There was an incident. Listen to this. There was a community in Boville. It's called Nirash. Right? Call it Teaneck, North Bergen. Okay? Make it more relevant. A man married a woman when she was a minor. Godlo. And then she became an adult. They took her and put her under a canopy. Like a woman sits by the Tanoim, she sits on her throne, the collar. Here, what happened? The guy comes in, grabs the collar off the collar's chair, and he grabs her and he marries her. What happened? There's a story in Nirash. A man goes... No, a third party. Yeah, another man. He married her originally, and then she became an adult. And at the wedding, he goes and grabs her out before the chuppah. Yeah. So now, and the second man marries us. So what was the kedushin originally was only when she was a minor. Okay. So we're saying, but Rab says, when does it become a Torah kedushin? We said only if he cohabits with her as an adult. So seemingly over here, what would you say? She would need a get from the second husband, based on Rav, to what we said. But we'll see. Two of Rav's students were there, and they ruled she does not need a get from Mr. B. Rav Bruna, Rav Hananel, these were the primary students of Rav. They were present. Talmidi the Rav, Habu Hossam, Gito. He said, no, the second man doesn't have to give a get. So over there, the man didn't have a chance. He didn't cohabit. The husband who married as a minor never cohabited with her as an adult. Right? Oh, no. He's married with as a minor. It's Rabbonim. So now how do you go to the right? So he has to. So I'm saying now, if he cohabits with her as an adult, then it becomes a Torah marriage. So the Gemara says she became an adult. She's going to chuppah. He didn't cohabit with her yet. She's sitting on the throne, the Kala throne, and this guy comes, pulls her off the throne, and he gets two witnesses. Hareba Gedeshesli. We say Rav Bruna and Rav Hanan, the primary students of Rav, said she needs no get from Mr. B. What do you mean? But the only time Rav says she doesn't need a get from Mr. B if Mr. A cohabited with her. Here, Mr. A, her first husband never cohabited with her as an adult. Amar Rav Papa, so Rav Papa answers, you know what the story is? Ben Nirash Minsiv Nesivi V'Odem Mosvi Abikursaya. In Nirash, the custom was first you have. There's like people they go somewhere else to get married. They come back and they make a sheva brachos. He already consummated the marriage as an adult. Now they were going to celebrate what already had taken place. So when he grabbed her off the throne, what did he do? He cohabited as an adult. It's a Torah marriage. That's the reason why they ruled she doesn't need a get from Mr. B, because he married a married woman. Right? Easy answer. It doesn't say that he cohabited with a second man. He gave her a ring in front of two witnesses. Kedushin, he did Kedushin, no, right. It's not a Kedushin because he married a married woman. It's nothing. Therefore, they ruled she doesn't need a get from Mr. B. Right? B and H. B, okay. Ravashi Amar, Ravashi says no. Factually, it should have been a marriage. But why isn't it a marriage? Who also shlokogen, the ficha also lo shlokogen. Vafkinu rabbanu l'kedushim minei. Is that the way you marry a woman? He grabs her off the throne, stealing somebody else's wife. So you know what the Chacham did? They revoked the marriage. They annulled it. Because what Rashi says, when a man marries, it has to be in accordance with the Chachamim. If they say, we don't want it. So if the marriage was conditional, and they say we don't want it, so the marriage is nothing. That's because since he acted in a manner which was totally unacceptable, inappropriate, therefore we annul the marriage. That's the reason why she didn't need a get from Mr. B. Okay? Amalei Ravina or Ravashi, so Ravina says to Rav. Yeah, but the whole thing, the way it came about, it's totally inappropriate. She agreed to take the ring from the second guy. But is that the way you steal a woman away from her husband and you go do such a thing? So the Chacham said, this kind of behavior, we don't condone, we cancel the marriage. Because it's contingent on us, we say we don't want it.
And he can't be married. He can't go back to it. Once he's married, he'll do it.
No, rabbinically, she's only rabbinically married. No, there are two answers. No, one answer is there was bia. Rav Ashi, no, you don't have to say there's bia. It's only because of the inappropriateness of the way he grabbed her that they canceled the marriage. They canceled the second marriage. Because it was conditioned al das Moshe Yisrael. That's the Gemara asks, if he married it with money, so therefore what? So what did we say? Hefker bez and Hefker on the money, right? So therefore he never gave any money, right? Kodesh would be a Michael Maimar, but where they can actually, if let's say he cohabited with her afterwards, right? Let's use Makadosh with Bia. So that means they have to say the Bia is a Bia's nus. If you say cancel it, you know, how does it end up? So there was never a marriage. But here, if you say there was never a marriage, but there was an act of cohabitation. So they're saying the B is a B is nus, so maybe they don't go that far. So Mar says, Shiva Rabbanu Bilson, no problem. Even for acting in this inappropriate way, you know something? You get what you deserve. Your B is a B is nus. So they'll call you a shagitz. You deserve to be called a shagitz. You know what a shagitz is? Okay? It's a derogatory term. No, doesn't the bab? No. Yeah, but here, even with the intent, but if they say that we don't want the marriage to be a marriage regardless of what your intent is, but if your intent was conditional on what we say, you said, I'm marrying her only if the Chachamim condone the marriage. If they don't condone it, I don't want the marriage to be marriage. And he cohabits with her to marry her, and he does it in a way which the Chacham say, in that context, we don't want it. So then it turns, it's a bias nus, because he said it's contingent only if they agree. We don't agree. Because of the inappropriateness of the setting of the way you married her. There was no marriage, never a marriage. What is a disclaimer?
No, it's a disclaimer that it has to be acceptable.
And if it's not, it's nothing.
That's why it's never a marriage.
Because it was conditioned. They said, when I'm cohabiting with you to marry, it's only if the Chachamim condone it. So if they don't condone it, so what is it? It's a bias nus. Okay. Omer Rav Yehuda Meshmuel, Halacha Reb Lezer. Yeah, we rule like Reb Lezer says we don't encourage a woman to do miyun. We rule like Reb Lezer, we do encourage a woman to do miyun. The case, remember the case. Two brothers married to two sisters, one's a minor, one's an adult. Now the adult dies, that means, so on a Torah level, the adult sister falls to Yibum. But we have a problem because he's married rabbinically to the sister. So Reb Lezer says we don't encourage miyun. Reb Lezer says, well, definitely we encourage her to be mine, so if she does miyun. Retroactively, he was never married to sister who's the minor. So now he does yibum to the adult sister, who was married to the brother who passed away. Halacha Reb Lezer, v'chein omer Reb Lezer, halacha Reb Lezer. We encourage miyun. Okay, very good. That's the way we rule. Well, she has to agree. She has to agree to be married to him. But when he does the act, he has to intend that this is for the sake of marriage. No. As long, but she has to consent. Right? Okay, now we have all kinds of variations of this kind of case. Misha yanos lishtei yisomos ketanos. This, a man is married to two women. They're both orphans. That means both women are married to him on a rabbinic level. Until now, we were speaking about he was married to one wife, right? A minor, rabbinically. Now it took shtei yisomos ketanos, umates, and now this man dies. So now what are these two women? They're what? The tzoros. They're rabbinic tzoros. You have a Torah tzora and you got a rabbinic tzora. Right? They're co-wives only on a rabbinic level. What's the halacha if you do yibum to one wife? Let's say a man's married to two women, wives, and he dies, and the brother does yibum on one wife. The other wife goes free. So if he's married to two women rabbinically, and he dies, and the surviving brother does yibum or chalitza on let's say yibum on one of the women, the other minor is free to go now. We're not going to be more strict than a Torah marriage. If he's married to both of them on the Torah level, the other one's free to go. So if he's married both of them on a rabbinic level, also they're free to go. Correct? Good. Misha yinosi shtei yivomo yisomus knas umeis biyosa or chalitzosa shel achsman poter serosa. Doing biyah to one of the two or chalitza to one of the two frees the other one. Lets the other one go free. No, we're not emphasizing that point. The yibum here is rabbinic. It's a rabbinic yibum. It's rabbinic. It's rabbinic, right? But we're not. But now that we're doing rabbinic yibum, does it free the co-wife to go get married? Of course, if it frees the Torah wife to go marry, right? Now, chen shtei chershos. Yeah. What about if a man's married to two deaf mutes? Right. So it's a rabbinic marriage. It's a rabbinic marriage. So therefore, he does yibum or chalitza to one or the other. They're free to go. What about Ketana v'chareshes? Now this is not simple. Let's say one is a minor and one is a deaf mute. They're both rabbinic marriages, but each one's a different type of person. So maybe you would say, since they're seen as different types of people, right? Even though they're both rabbinic marriages, maybe doing to one will not free the other one. See? Ein bia achas poteret saroso. Even though he does yibum to one, it does not free the other one. You got it? No. Bia, you don't have to have das. Bia is even balkorcha. Because it's a different, no, because if they're both deaf mutes, one will free the other. Because it's a different type of rabbinic marriage. It's a different defect. One is because you're a minor, the other one's because she's a deaf mute. Right? Of adult age, but still, halachically, it's only rabbinic. It's only rabbinic marriage. It's two different rabbinic marriages. So therefore, one doesn't terminate the other. It's all rabbinical. This is rabbinical. It's a rabbinic fence. 1 second. So he says, interesting, Rashi says, what's the rationale? They're both rabbinic. One's minor, so a minor has its drawback. A deaf mute also has its drawback. So which one did he want to really be his real wife? Not real in the sense. They're both rabbinic. But which one did he value more within the context of marriage? The husband who died. The husband who died. The husband died. So therefore, since you could say maybe one's a more real marriage than the other on a rabbinic level, so therefore maybe he's only married to one, not to the other. So maybe the one who you did yibum to, that wasn't the real one. The other one was the real one. You're following? Yeah, but again, but it's all rabbinic. Of course, this is the way it could be perceived. Listen, pikachas v'chareshes. Listen to this story. He's married to a fully functioning woman, an adult woman who's fully competent, and he's married. The second wife is a deaf mute. You got it? So again, rabbinic marriage, Torah marriage. Bias pikachas poteres hachareshes. There's no question. When he performs yibum on a Torah level to the functional woman, the fully competent woman, of course he frees the chareshes, right? Then bias chareshes poteres apikachas. What about he does yibum on the rabbinic marriage? Of course it doesn't free. How could it free the Torah connection? What about gedolu ketana? Two people, no defects. He's married to two women. One is a minor, one is an adult, and then the brother dies, so the adult and the minor fall to yibum. This is easy, right? Gedol ketana bias hagedola poteres ketana. Perform yibum with the adult, frees the minor to go free. Maybe a sektana poteres hagedola, but cohabiting with the minor will not free the adult because the minor is a rabbinic marriage, and the adult, there's a zika, is connected on Torah level. Okay? It's not a question like this. The Mishnah starts, it says, if a man is married to two deaf mutes, right? And it says, if he does yibum or chalitza, when he does yibum to one, the other one goes free. If he does chalitza, goes free. The question is, a chareshes is not qualified to do chalitza. A deaf mute. Because firstly, she has to speak. She can't speak. Deaf mute means she doesn't speak. So the Gemara asks, the chareshes bas chalitzik. Could she give chalitza to the yavam? V'otanan, we learned in the Mishnah explicitly earlier. How it quotes from before. But this is an accurate quote. Okay. This is accurate. Okay, v'otanan, chere shenechlatz. Let's say the surviving brother is a deaf mute. And the widow gave him chalitza. V'charesh shecholza. The one who did the chalitza, the widow, she is a deaf mute. No. Either one. Different cases. Either one. Okay? Let's say the surviving brother was a minor. We have three cases. She gives chalitza, she's a deaf mute, gives chalitza to a viable surviving brother. Or he's a deaf mute and she gives chalitza to the surviving brother who's a deaf mute. Or we have a case where she gives chalitza to the minor brother, right? He's a minor. And all three cases, chalitza psula. It's not a valid chalitza. So how could the Mishnah say that when she gives chalitza as a chareshes, it's a valid chalitza and she's free to marry? A chalitza of chareshes is not a valid chalitza. That's the first question. No. Chalitza can't do it with a shliach. She's the one who has to do it. Rav Yudah Rav Abiyah. When it says choletzes or misyabemes, it says that we're talking about only cohabitation. I mean yibum.
So we're knocking out chalitza here. We're saying it's either yibum or bina, but no chalitza. Is that right?
No, bio. He says it's bio. It's not chalitza.
I'm saying we're knocking chalitza out, so it's either yibum.
Not a yibum. There's only yibum.
Only yibum.
Only yibum. A bio. Rav Omar afilu tem chalitza. You hear this? We're talking about no, this chalitza. We just quoted a brisa, a mishnah that says it's no good. Kam b'chareshes meikor kan b'pikachas v'akach nischarsha. Here, chareshes the meikora kiheche de all hochi nafkis. Hear this? We're talking about it's a rabbinic marriage. Let's say a man marries a deaf mute. It's a rabbinic marriage. So we say even though she can't speak, rabbinically we value the chalitza. Why? Because just as he married her, although she couldn't speak, so he could send her off although she can't speak. No, originally the marriage was rabbinic. Of course, she's a deaf mute. So, but the Torah, how do you marry a deaf mute? Rabbinically, they said it works. We don't look at the defect. It says you don't look at the defect on the way in, you don't look at the defect on the way out. But what about originally she married her, it was a Torah marriage. And subsequently she became a deaf mute. So now already, she has to be competent. So because the marriage, what we're terminating now, the zika is a Torah zika, it's a Torah connection. So she has to be viable. She has to be a viable person. So if she's not able to speak, she's not able to give chalitza. So the brisa that says a deaf mute, the chalitza is not valid, it's when we're dealing with a Torah marriage. Because since when she became the wife, what kind of wife was she? It was a Torah marriage. So just as when she came in, she was able to speak, to give chalitza, she also has to be able to speak. But if initially, when the marriage came out, she wasn't able to speak, and now she was not able to speak, it's not a problem. That's some more answers. Since she can't speak, she has to proclaim. So Abaye asks a question. It says, so you tell me that a chareshes, a woman who's always been a deaf mute, rabbinically give chalitza. Somewhere says, Abaye asks, V'tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Shnei Achim, you have two brothers. Echad pikeach ve'echad cheresh. Yeah, wait 1 second. One brother is a competent brother, the other brother is a deaf mute. Yeah? Here we're talking about the husbands, right? One brother is not a deaf mute, the other brother is a deaf mute. Nesuin l'shtei nochrius. They're married to two women not related to one another. The two women are not related to one another. Achas pikachas v'achas chareshes. You hear this? One of the wives is a fully competent woman, and the other wife is a deaf mute. Mes cherish. Yeah. Baal chareshes. Now, the cheresh, the deaf mute, was married to the woman who was a deaf mute. He dies. He's the husband of the deaf mute. Right? Deaf mute marries a deaf mute. The functional husband, brother marries a functional woman. Now, the one who's married, the deaf mute, dies, and the yavama is a deaf mute. Right? Simple. Ma'yase pikeach. So now what does the pikeach do? Pikeach is the surviving brother is a fully functioning, fully competent brother. Ma'yase pikeach. Boal pikachas. Bal pikachas. What is the pikeach? The competent brother who's the husband of the competent woman. Kones. He's what does he do? He does yibum. He does yibum, right? We'll see. Vimrotza lahotzi yotzi. But if he wants to give a get, he can give a get. Listen to the story. Wait. Mes pikeach bal pikachs. What about if the competent brother who's married to the competent woman, he dies? Ma'yasa cheresh. So what does the cheresh do to her? So now we're talking about a zika, which is a Torah. It's a Torah marriage. The competent brother married to a competent woman, he dies. So what was the marriage originally? A Torah marriage. Now he dies. Now there's a surviving brother. That is a cheresh. It's irrelevant. She's connected to him on a Torah level, to the surviving brother. The competent woman is connected to the deaf mute on a Torah level. No. There's the competent brother, his married competent woman, he dies. And the surviving brother now is a deaf mute. So now what's the story? So now the competent woman is connected on a Torah level to the deaf brother. Right? Wait. Bal chareshes kones veno motzi. He cohabits with her. He can't give her a get now. He's married to her forever. The only way she's going to be free to marry now, she has to die.
Right.
Because since he's a deaf mute, he can't give a get.
Right.
He can't give a get. And since he's deaf mute, he can't give chalitza. Right? He can't give chalitza. But it does yibum. Yibum, it's a yibum. Because it's the act itself which brings it to a Torah level. Eino kol motzi lolam. My love. So what kind of chareshes are we talking about over here? The chareshes meikora. We're speaking about, it says, if cheresh is married to chareshes, the first case we said, if the deaf mute dies, and his wife, who's also deaf mute, falls to yibum, it says the pikeach, what does he do? He does yibum, and if he wants to give a get, he gives get, but it doesn't mention a word about chalitza. Right? Uktoni kones, ein, cholitz lo. So although we're dealing with a rabbinic marriage, what do we say? He can't give chalitza. We just finished saying that you could give chalitza because just as he came in rabbinically. You go out rabbinically. Here we're dealing with a rabbinic marriage. Yeah, right? That's the first question. Lo. We're not speaking about the case of the deaf mute. It's not speaking where she was always a deaf mute. Originally, she was a viable woman. Lo b'bikachas nischarsha. So if that's the case, what kind of marriage is this? The marriage is a Torah marriage. You got it? This is a Torah marriage. Only one thing could happen. The only thing, the competent brother, when she falls to the only thing he could do was only yibum. Right? Because he's not now, because they're connected on a Torah level, the two of them. The widow, although today she's a deaf mute, but the origin of that marriage was what? Right? It was a Torah marriage. Okay? To the first brother. So now she falls. So now chalitza she can't give, because she can't speak. And here, what does she have to terminate? What does she have to sever? A Torah connection. Right. If it's rabbinical, you could say, as she entered rabbinically, she goes out rabbinically. But here you can't relate it. Right? Either you meet the grade or you don't meet the grade. She exactly. She can't remain married. Correct. Well, seemingly you have to say he became a deaf mute also later, because otherwise the marriage, if he's a deaf mute, even if he marries a competent woman, the marriage is still drab on him. No, it's still drab on him. You have to say they were both originally competent people. They had some kind of accident, and they both became deaf mutes. Right? So now, since the original marriage, when he married her, was a Torah marriage, now when she falls to Yibum, so now what do you have to terminate? You have to terminate a Torah relationship. So therefore, there's only one thing you can do, is Yibum. You can't do Chalitza now. But if, let's say, they were both initially deaf mutes, and then he dies, he could give her Chalitza, no problem. We will continue.